We are here with Rosie, and again, I call it Citizens on Patrol, huh! But it's really not Citizens on Patrol.
No, it's Citizens Police Academy, but it's close enough.
And this was week number 7.
This was week number 7, so we've got 1 week left, and next week we'll do the graduation and all that fun stuff.
So what did we learn last night?
Last night we had the K9 unit came for a visit.
I was really excited about that. Again,
yeah.
I wanted you in the K9 suit.
He didn't even bring it. He didn't even. I mean, he told us about some of the training that he does with his dog. Like he'll do, I mean, he has the normal training where he'll teach the dog, you know, this is what you need to sniff out type of deal. But then he'll do stuff with like random people. And so he'll have a guy in the dog suit, you know, go out to a place that they picked in advance, you know, and kind of run around so the dog can get his scent. And then he said that there was one time, you know, like he finally got the guy, the dog did. And so they'd already arranged that when the dog got there, the guy would just take off running.
Oh.
You know, but he had the suit on in case the dog caught up to him and bit him and all that stuff. So.
And you made a kind of a cool tweet last night about dogs and cats. Can you?
Yeah, he was actually talking about cats have a better sense of smell, but they just don't care. Like one time they might be great at it, and the next time they might just go, I don't feel like doing this today.
Forget about it. Coffee break.
Like, you know, the dogs, you can train them. They're happy. Like, he gave his dog a tennis ball last night when he did well, you know, so he could play with it and stuff. So the dog knows that there's a treat coming at the end of whatever. And with a cat, might care, might not care, meh, who knows? So they're kind of less dependable, even though they do have better noses. So I thought that was kind of funny.
That is kind of cool. And that is a question that I would have never even asked. I just wouldn't imagine that a cat would have that superior of a nose, I guess.
I didn't really think about it that much, but yeah, I mean, I guess it makes sense, but it is true. I mean, cats are a little bit more.
They're finicky.
Yeah, they are finicky. They kind of want to do their own thing, and, you know, so they don't really care as much. So that was interesting. FYI, trivia for later.
Yeah, no kidding. But that is cool. And that's the stuff that you wouldn't even think about. That's why I really have taken an interest in what you're doing, because that kind of stuff is interesting knowledge.
You get little tidbits that you would just never really think about, you know, on a normal day-to-day basis. I wouldn't. I don't know about other people.
And as always, check out the Kokomo Perspective or kokomoperspective.com to read those stories, because if you haven't caught up with the stuff that she's doing, it really is incredible. So.
Pictures and
what else did you learn?
Well, we also got some I mean, there was just lots of stuff with the dog. He had 2 boxes that he brought in actually earlier. And so one had drugs in it, or I guess the training, I don't know if they were real drugs, I didn't ask. One had the drugs in it, one didn't have the drugs in it or whatever. So when he brought the dog in, because he talked a little bit before, and so when he brought the dog in, then you could see how his particular dog reacts. They're all different, you know, they all have their own personalities, but you could see when the dog smelled the drugs, he was across the room pretty much, comes running up, found that box, stuck his nose straight in there, you know.
Wow.
And it was kind of weird to watch, because I mean, you wouldn't think
that it would be
instantaneous, but he was saying something like dogs can smell 26 cents, over 26 cents in just one breath of air.
Wow.
And I was like, that's, you know.
And you were also talking about the specific drugs that they can smell too. Is that right?
They're trained to go after 4 different smells. So I think he said it was weed, marijuana, heroin, cocaine, and meth are the 4 that they're basically trained on. But then the dogs can also be trained for sniffing out bombs, explosives, that sort of thing. Then they can also be trained for, say, like a manhunt. Some of them are cross-trained. Some of them only have one purpose. So it's kind of interesting, you know, that these dogs get out there and they can do so many different things.
Sure.
You know, so that was kind of cool.
Did they happen to say, because I know we've got quite a few canine units, but did they say how many dogs actually are in service?
There are 4 for the Kokomo Police Department.
Wow.
And I think they also said, I think it was 4 for KPD and then 1 over at the Sheriff's Department.
Very nice.
So, and they're all trained to deal with, you know, like the ones for KPD are the drug sniffing and crowdsource stuff mostly. And then the one over at the Sheriff's Department does the explosive sniffing and that sort of
So we've got the best of both worlds right here.
You know, you've got everything that you need all in one place.
See, and that's the cool thing about this series that you're doing, is because, you know, we see this stuff on television. We see this stuff even in the news. And you think, wonder if we have that here, and the answer is absolutely yes.
Yes, we do.
Even if it's not the fancy equipment that we see on the CSIs, we have that version, or we have access to them in some way.
Yeah, and the dog that he brought, his dog, is also part of the SWAT team.
Mm-hmm.
So he's even got his own little bulletproof vest.
Very cool.
That, I mean, we didn't get to see the vest, but that's cool that, you know, the dog gets to get that little bulletproof vest, so when he goes in, he's not in danger.
'Cause they're
so that was good to know that. I mean, they're ridiculously expensive, like crazy expensive, and they're only good for 5 years. But you know, at least
they're protected because they're a major tactical part of the
You're
team.
warm fuzzy for the day.
Hey, anything else that we need to know?
Well, we learned about drug enforcement last night too, so that was interesting to say the least. So we had 2 guys who do like the undercover stuff. They do the buys. They do the whatever
the sting.
It is. Yeah, they do like the stings. He showed a video last night of over in Rocheville when they got one of the drug dealers carrying like 2 pounds of pot to someone's house.
Wow.
Like, crazy stuff. You know, he showed us. They found hidden compartments in one guy's car. One time you had to press your key fob a certain way and this compartment would pop open.
Really?
And it was big enough for, he said, a gun and like 2 kilos of cocaine. So these guys who are dealing are a little crazy creative.
But not as creative as our police force.
Not as creative as our police force, but it's kind of scary, like what these guys will do to get away
Smuggle.
with, to get all this stuff in. And most of the drug dealers are actually from Detroit and Chicago. So it's not that we necessarily have a whole lot of, I guess, the top tier guys here. It's more of the people who will do the selling and the distributing stuff, and they get all their stuff from, you know, other places.
And that's all in your story. And guys, I'm not kidding. This is one of those stories that I've been here for many, many years, and I get so excited when it's things like this because you kind of get an in-depth look, a behind-the-scenes look of what is exactly going on. Go back, check out the tweets, check out the pictures. We've got all kinds of stuff. I'm so glad you're doing this, and I'm so glad you're talking to me.
I'm so sad next week's the last week, though.
You're graduating.
I don't know what I'm going to do with my Wednesday nights now.
Maybe they'll let you keep coming.
Well, there will be the ride-along that I can sign up for, so...
She's signing up.
Yep.
Tell her she needs to sign up.
I'll get it eventually. But they say that the best shift to go on is like the midnight shift because not a whole lot happens during the day. So I'd have to wait because if I work midnights and come to work at 8 o'clock in the morning, no one's going to want to deal with me.
You could just work the midnight shift and come right in and talk about it because inquiring minds want to know.
Except then they'd probably have to call the cops on me. I'd be so grumpy. So
don't ask me questions.
We'll see how it works out. But yeah, so I mean, even though next week is the last week, I'll still get a ride along.
Do you get a certificate?
Eventually.
Do you get your own pair of aviator glasses?
Well, I already own enough aviator glasses.
Your own badge?
I have no idea. I guess I'll find out next week. It'll be a surprise.
It'll be a surprise. And you'll share it with us.
Yes.
Because we definitely want to know. Thank you for coming in.
Of course.
You guys check out all of her stuff, kokomoperspective.com, or check out our weekly newspaper. If you don't get it and you would like to receive it, just give us a call, 452-0055, and we will put you on the list. Thank you, Rosie.
No problem.